The best thing ever is attracting clients that have similar values like you, because then the coaching experience is going to be insanely fun because you guys believe in the same things.
Welcome to the Swiss Made Success channel. The following interview is with Omar Harb, a great interview with tons of information, how to grow your coaching business. Please make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for life-changing inspiration. And now, enjoy the interview. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Swiss Made Success Stairway to Excellence. Today, I got a very young guest who is a high performance coach and coaches other people to start their own business and build their coaching business to 10,000 a month. He is also the founder of the Facebook group, The Authentic Leader of Marketing, Sales, and Mindset to Grow Your Business. Welcome, Omar Harb.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here, man. Really excited to be with you here today and, chat with you. So thank you for having me.
My pleasure. I've been following your work online and it's a great inspiration. And given your young age, you're 19, correct?
Yeah.
Given your young age, I'm inspired and impressed from your knowledge and also from your wisdom, because, it's like knowledge sometimes is not enough, but you also,
True.
the way you deliver it, I love it. So yeah, that would be my first question is like, where all this knowledge and this wisdom comes from?
So first off, thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Knowledge and wisdom. So I think if we could link it to two things here, we could talk about what sort of belief made me become interested in gathering that knowledge and wisdom in the first place. And we can talk about why I was interested in it. So for me, when I was like 15, 16, that was when I really started, getting into teaching myself and learning things, like self-development. And then from there, like the evolution where you get into self-development and then you start, looking at businesses, entrepreneurship, and one thing leads to another. It's just a rabbit hole online. Back then I was addicted to video games, which was something that, played a role into me, like wanting to change something about my life. And I think it was a combination of my belief, having open-mindedness, being open-minded enough to believe that I could do something if I worked for it. And the other thing, which was just me being in a position where I was in a very low state, like emotionally, mentally, physically. And there was that need for me, all teenagers, they want to be the best at something. So it was that need for me to change. And I got into, some people do sports, some people get into this, some people get into that. I was like, okay, personal development, learned a lot about that in the past 4 to 5 years. And, slowly you start becoming better and better and better. And then you get to a point where you could, help other people do the same thing as you did.
When I listen to you talking and when you deliver your speeches and your trainings, that comes from a deep, not only knowledge, but like experience. Sounds like, like you have also been through some stuff that created yourself of today.
Okay, so for me, it was just, I don't like to teach something I didn't do, right? There's a lot of people that teach you a certain thing and then they themselves do something else. So before I teach anything, I have to have gone through it. So when I was doing high performance coaching, helping other entrepreneurs grow, I had been spending the last 3 years before that working on my own self, testing out routines, testing out habits, overcoming my own, because I wasn't productive. I was literally a dopamine junkie playing League of Legends 14 hours a day. So, how the fuck does that person teach entrepreneurs how to be high performers, right? It's a very polar opposites, it just doesn't work. And so before I started doing that, it's not like I read a few books and I'm like, okay, I'm an expert now. I had to change myself first, because if a dopamine addicted person playing video games all day could do it, how much easier would it be for an entrepreneur that already has a vision? So I took myself through that process over 3 years, or the past 3, 4 years, and I managed to change from somebody who I no longer play any video games, by the way. Not because like I'm gonna get addicted to it, but I just doesn't align with my purpose nowadays. But it was very hard in the beginning. I went through a lot of trying different things. And on the internet, there's a lot of different things that you could learn. It's never ending. And I had to go through a lot of, like 90% of things you learn are bullshit. There's 10% that actually works. And then from those 10%, there's the 80-20 rule, which are from those 10%, 20% actually give you the amazing results, and 80% you don't even need to do them. So it was a lot of trial and error, a lot of testing on myself and my friends. My friends would act as projects because they also had goals, and I would be like, okay, I'll help you with that. And so through that experience, I learned what works and what doesn't. And when I teach someone something, 99% of the time, I've went through it myself and I've done it myself to make sure that it actually works before teaching them that thing.
Awesome. How can, like, let's say a starting coach, somebody who is just starting the business, what are the first steps to start coaching and get the first client?
Okay, so for me, it's like a building. Coaching is a building. The most important part before, so you've got foundations, marketing, and sales, and we're going to get into each one a little bit later, but foundations are super important. Those are what will lead to good marketing, good sales. But before that, you need to have those. I talked about this a lot. You need to have 3 beliefs that you believe in before you even become a coach. You need to believe that it's possible, so that it's possible. You need to believe that it's worth it. Okay, it's possible, but is it worth it? And then you need to believe that you can do it. That you can do it. So you want to believe it's possible, it's worth it, and you can do it. When you have those 3 beliefs down, then you're going to have the mindset to take action. Because you could believe it's doable, but you might not believe it's worth it, then you won't have the motivation to do it. You could believe it's doable and worth it, but if you don't believe you can do it, then you're going to be like, this is not for me. So those 3 beliefs need to exist together for you to start coaching. The other misconception is that a lot of people think that they need to be experts. They need to be like, you need to be an expert to a certain degree. You don't want to be a beginner scamming people, but you don't have to be the best of the best. Like you don't need to be a freaking prodigy at the thing that you're doing to coach. You need to be like 1-2 steps ahead of, your ideal client, so that they could look up to you. If you were to work with yourself, if you were to look at yourself 2 years ago and give yourself advice, that would probably be super valuable. And here's the thing, there are probably people in the world that are exactly like the you 2 years ago. And if you could find those people, give them coaching, they will happily pay you for it. So first off, a lot of us believe we need to be the expert, the ultimate expert. You don't. You just need to be a little bit better than that person, so that if you were to coach them, they're going to look at you and, find you more valuable than they doing it themselves, right? And they'll probably resonate with you more than somebody at the top, because when you go to the top, sometimes you lose sight and you lose relatability. So somebody a little bit ahead of you could give you a better coaching experience than somebody way ahead of you, right? So that's step number 1. But in terms of the technical, how can you sign up your first client? As I said, it comes into to 3 things: foundations, organic marketing. I usually always recommend people start with organic marketing to validate their offer before putting money into ads or a website or whatever. So have foundations, building a good high ticket offer, high ticket coaching. You don't want to be selling $100 packages, $200 packages, or hourly rates. You want to sell a whole program, a package, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 6 months if you want sometimes. So high ticket offer, I would start people, with my clients, we start them at 2,000, work their way up. And with that, it's really easy to get to $10,000 per month. Well, if you're selling a $200 product or service, it's going to take you a lot of people to get to $10,000 a month. And here's what's really nice is that it's as hard to sell a $200 product as it is to sell a $2,000 product or service, right? It requires the same effort, the same amount of time spent on marketing and sales. So why not just go for the higher option? You'll have less clients, less headache, and more income, which is a win-win-win. So it's all about building good foundations and then following a good organic marketing strategy that validates the offer before you think about ads or you think about websites or webinars or funnels. Because if you don't have a validated offer, you could be burning money and not making anything back. And then, of course, having a sales process so that when you get people on calls, you're able to sell them. right? You're able to show them that this is where you are, this is where you want to be, widen the gap a little bit, make them feel a little bit of pain so that they're like, oh, I need to do this, because people buy on emotions, and then position your offer as the perfect vehicle between point A and point B. And they're going to be like, oh, this is exactly what I need.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll justify the pricing of paying you 2K, 3K, 4K, 5K, whatever, right? So those are just the very, very basics.
All right. For who is just starting, who doesn't know, maybe what is a validated offer? When you talk about that, what do you mean?
Yeah. A validated offer is an offer that sells, because if you create an offer that nobody wants, that's not a validated offer. So when I say you need to validate your offer first, it means you have to sell a few people on it first, and then it's a validated offer. So pretty much the market wants it. If an offer is validated, that means the market wants it and they're willing to buy it at a high ticket price. A lot of people create an offer, they're like, oh, this is a really good idea for me to do. And then they go, they build a website, they build funnels, they run ads to it, they spend $2,000, $3,000 on just building, maybe more, on all of that. And then they spend a few months of their life building that just to finally figure out that nobody wants this offer that they have. Which is why validating your offer before doing any of those is key. Doing organic marketing, talking to people, selling them on this offer at this price point, getting people into your program. That's when your offer gets validated. That's when you know, okay, people want this, people are willing to pay that much on that thing. And then it just becomes easy for you to replicate the process, drive more traffic, and scale.
And then you can adjust like the price to your next level, right?
Pretty much. And you can adjust the program as well, because you'll probably not have the perfect offer in the first time. You bring in a few beta clients and then you ask them, okay, what feedback do you have? How can we make the program better? How could we make it more effective? What would you like to see more of? And you'll work with them to build the ultimate offer. And then that justifies an even higher price, and so on and so forth.
Awesome. So good. So we have like the starting point for starting coach. One of the things that you teach is also training the focus. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little about that? How can we train our focus?
Yeah, this is something I'm really, I'm really inspired by and passionate about, because nowadays we have very low attention spans, more than ever. That's because most of us are just on our phones every day, just especially now with, if you notice why TikTok is growing, it's growing because it's a very low attention span thing, just 15-minute videos, and then it automatically scrolls for you, lowest effort, and then you're always getting those dopamine spikes. You keep scrolling, you get dopamine spikes, and the mind gets addicted to that through our environment, through the everything we have around us, from screens to laptops to just everything is super fast paced, that the brain just gets addicted to high levels of dopamine. And whenever you don't have it, you're just like a dopamine junkie scrolling. For me, that was League of Legends. And our focus goes to shit. We just lose focus. I know people that can't focus for 10 minutes. They just have to pick up their phone, see if they got a text message. We're literally addicted. And so to me, if you are able to focus, if you're able to sit down and focus, you have a superpower. You have one of the most valuable skills in the world. And there's two types of focus. There's macro level focus, meaning picking one thing, working towards it, not getting distracted by shiny object syndromes, and just focusing on that one thing until you succeed with it. And I believe that's why I achieved success relatively fast. It was because I was like, this is it. I'm going to be a coach. I kept doing it. I kept failing. I kept doing it. I kept failing. People do not have the resilience. Most people, they don't have the resilience to do that. I didn't. I tried a few things before that. I tried drop shipping and stuff, but then I was like, fuck it. I need to focus on one thing. Most people, and learn from this mistake if you're doing it right now, most people do not have the resilience to stick to one thing. They fail one time. Oh, I'll try something else. Somebody comes to them with another opportunity. I'll try that. Focus is scattered. There's not that intensity on one thing that's going to make sure that they're going to achieve success. And that's why most people, I talk to people on a daily basis that have been in business for 5 years and they still hadn't hit 6 figures. We could say it's mindset. We could say it's faulty business strategies, whatever. But it's actually their lack of focus. They're not giving it enough time to grow. Mm-hmm. They're just changing things around, and that's how most people do it. So if you don't want to fall into the trap of growing slowly, you first need to understand that focus on the macro level is super important. You need to focus on that one thing. Choose one thing, Give it your all. 1-2 years. I promise you, no matter how bad you are, no matter how low your starting point is, if you give yourself 1-2 years, it's probably going to be less. It's probably going to be like 6 months, but let's just say 1-2 years. If you give yourself 1-2 years of absolute focus on that one thing, one goal you're working towards, I guarantee it, you're going to see success. Period. Right? And the other thing with the macro, I want you to understand, is with anything business related, or honestly anything other than just a job. With a job, it goes like this: you work a month, you get paid. You work a month, you get paid. With business, with going to the gym, with entrepreneurship, with whatever it is, the graph is exponential. It's not linear. So it's not like do something, see a result, do something, see a result. It's like do something, do something, do something, see no results, see no results, see no results, do something. And then finally, those things that you've been stacking above each other, they compound, and then the graph goes exponential. And that's when you start succeeding. And to the outside world, it's going to look like an overnight success, but you've been working in the shadows for a whole year, for 2 years. That's just how business is. Even the gym, that's how it is. There's no linear progress. And there might also be dips in your progress. You might be working and see dips. So there's that macro level focus. Okay. So that's one. And then there's micro level focus, which is day-to-day focus. When I sit down and I work, I literally get, this is after practice, I literally get more work done than an average person gets done in 8 hours, in 1 or 2 hours, because my environment is optimized around me. My energy levels are optimized. Sleep is really well. My phone is off. I have no distractions around me. Water, I'm having enough water intake. My diet is relatively good. My diet is not amazing by all means. I'm working on that. But overall, you work on areas of your life to make sure that you streamline the process of work, and that when you sit down to crank out some work, you're just as efficient as possible. You're a freaking machine. 1 hour of work, you could get done more work than somebody in 8 hours. And you do that through intense planning. You know exactly what you're going to do. You know exactly what the essentials in your business are and how to get them done. You have a good environment where you have enough sunlight coming in. That's really good for resetting your circadian rhythms. Your sleep is good. Your water intake is good. Your diet is good. Your emotions are good. Because for me, this was a challenge, and I just hired a coach to help me with that, by the way. Very interesting stuff. I'm 19, right? I don't have much experience in the real world, in the real world. I just admit it, I got out of school like 2 years ago, and then I dropped out of university. So I admit that I have some faults with not being as emotionally resilient as most people. Something could just get me off track, and I could spend a whole day, 2 day, weeks. I spent 3 months worrying about something, not too long ago. And I don't have that strength emotionally. And so I recognized that fault in me. I was like, this is really impacting my performance and my productivity, and I needed to work on it. Right. So emotions are another thing. If you're able to regulate your state, manage your state, you also become a top tier performer. I feel like that's what ruins a lot of people's performance. And if you're able to control that, which requires some work, if you're able to control that, you become unstoppable.
It's amazing. So yeah, when you talk about focus, it comes to mind the example of the laser and the light bulb, right?
Yeah.
So people who's able to go laser focused, obsessed on something, they achieve like crazy success, and as you said before, like overnight success, right? But they've been
Yeah.
working in behind the scenes for years, maybe. And I've seen you read the book. You're reading the book of Eckhart Tolle. I think you made a comment.
Yeah. A New Earth. Yeah.
Exactly. And in one of his books, he says one phrase. He says, "Real intelligence works silently."
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what reminded me when you're talking about that. Awesome.
Totally.
You kind of brought us already through the routines. I know you're big on routines. Would you
Yeah.
like to share something on routines, and how important are they to have control over our days?
Yeah. Sure. I think, okay, here's the thing. I think routines are very spoken of nowadays. So I don't think we need to talk about the importance of routines, because everybody already knows how important routines are. Now, what people need to know is that routines are personal. Okay. So what I see a lot of, after working with a lot of entrepreneurs, especially coaches, we go to YouTube, entrepreneurs morning routine, and then it's like, wake up at 5 a.m., meditate, affirmations, do this, do that. And we follow someone else's routine. Now, okay, it's good to get inspiration from it. It's good. It's good to model somebody successful and take the routines. That's good. But they're not at the same level as you are. If you're following a millionaire's morning routine and you're not a millionaire, that's not going to make you a millionaire just because you're following their routines. That just means that their lifestyle is different than yours, and you need to create a routine that works with your lifestyle, right? Because most people, let's be honest, how frequently and how consistent are you with your routines?
Yeah, right now it's really hard for me to follow the routines I wish, being a father, being a full-time job, being a husband. So yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
tough.
but that's because we have an expectation of what a routine should look like, right? But if you look a little bit deeper and think, okay, this is what my lifestyle looks like. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I have a full-time job, I do this, I do that. Then when you sit down to create a routine, you create something that's realistic. You don't need to, like, honestly, I wake up, I tried a lot of different routines. I tried waking up in the middle of the night, 3 a.m., wake up at 5 a.m. I tried doing multiple different routines. Honestly, I've tested all of them. Some of them really worked, easy for me to follow through. So, and the others didn't, it's just that you really need to find what works with your lifestyle and what you're going to stick to, because we could always seek perfection, and that's good. And I'm going to share with you a concept here. I think when you're creating routines, what a lot of people do is we either underestimate ourselves a lot and we create something super easy that we follow easily, and that doesn't lead to growth, or we create something super hard and we don't stay consistent to it. So for me, it's like, and this is a trigger of flow, by the way. When you're playing at the edge of your skill level, so let's say with routines, it's discipline. When you're playing at the edge of your skill level, it's competitive for you to get something done. You feel a little bit of anxiety, like, could I get this done? But 99% of the time, you will get it done because it's just outside your skill level, just outside your discipline level. And that's how we should design routines, not something too easy, not something too hard. Most of us wake up at 11 a.m. and then we watch a YouTube video. I'm like, we get motivated, we get that high, dopamine high, and suddenly we want to crush the world. Suddenly we want to like build freaking cities. And okay, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. I'm going to work out for 1 hour. I'm going to do that. Are you going to do it seriously, or are you just motivated in the moment? That's what you have to be aware of. And when that happens, when you're aware of that, that's when things change. Because now when you create a routine, you create it based on awareness. You create it based on being super duper aware, right? That's super, super important.
Awesome. So that's some deeper information, some routines for whoever's listening right now. All
Yeah.
right. So yeah, seeing your videos, I see you have high energy. You said something before, but maybe you can share something more. What gives you? Where comes this high energy from? What motivates you?
High energy. What do you mean by? Do you mean by the way I speak?
The way you speak, the way you deliver the message, your confidence.
Okay. So with that, I feel like delivery, confidence, with confidence, you need to have conviction. But I feel like my way of delivering things, I just ramble a lot, right? I know for myself, it's really hard for me to formulate strict ideas. So when I'm creating a training or when I'm coming up with systems, it's easy for me to sit down and write things and then come up with step-by-step processes. When I'm doing something like this, what we're doing today, it's really hard for me to formulate things in my brain super easy and give you a step-by-step process. That's why you see me going further and then, oh, I forgot this point, so I get back to it, and then I do this, and then I do that. But in terms of energy, see, I literally like went over your question and went to something else now. But in terms of my energy and how I speak and the conviction and the confidence, I feel like the energy I have in terms of being high energy isn't something that I worked on, right? I feel like it's very based on personalities. I know like people, I don't know if you know Rich Litvin, or, there are other coaches. Rich Litvin is a very well-known coach, high performance coach. And he's very calm, very, if I were to like act like him, he's very calm, voice is a little bit low, gets you into trance. And that's how he speaks. It's like very slow, very, and that has a lot of confidence in it. That has a lot of power as well, but that's his personality. So I feel
Mhm.
like what matters is the confidence, the conviction, and the delivery, that you're confident in your words and what you're saying, that you have belief in yourself. And that comes from competence. Competence breeds
All right.
confidence. If you're
Mm-hmm.
competent, you're confident. But the way it's delivered, whether it's super high energy and all over the place like I am, or something slower with a lot of pauses, that's low, no matter what it is, I think it's going to have the same power. Some people are going to resonate with something higher energy more. And that's what I mean by authenticity. It's like when I'm this high energy, some people that are a little bit shyer or a little bit more on the lower side, they might not resonate with this. And I'm not saying one is better than the other. It's just everybody, I feel like, attracts their tribe. And I'm noticing in my coaching, most of the coaches that I work with end up being men. I don't say men, I don't deliver my messaging for men, but for some reason men resonate with my content a little bit more. And that's why most of my clients are men. I've had one woman since I've ever started, one. And I feel like it's just about the energy you put out.
Well, women know now, so ladies.
you could come in, you're welcome.
Awesome, man, appreciate that. So you were talking about authenticity, and your group is like the authentic leader. If you could describe the authentic leader, how would that be?
They stand up for what they believe in. That's like what authenticity is all about. Because when I look in the market, I see, especially in the coaching industry, the reason most people don't make it is because we're trying to copy somebody else. It's good. There's a difference between modeling, because I model success all the time. There's a difference between modeling success and copying success, right? A lot of people, are so sucked into building fake authority, faking it till you make it, and it's good to a certain extent to have that belief, but not faking it on people, not like going like, oh, I make 7 figures to someone when you're just starting out. That's just lying, straight out scamming. So I see a lot of people just straight out not being themselves, just trying to be something that they're not. And I'm like, the first thing that I talk about, well, that's my little cat. The first thing that they talk about is so with authenticity, like the first thing, one of the exercises I do with my clients is really to see what they stand for and what they stand against. What are their values, and then match their values with their audience. Because the best thing ever is attracting clients that have similar values like you, because then the coaching experience is going to be insanely fun because you guys believe in the same things. For me, it's freedom. I have a big value of freedom, doing whatever you want, whenever the you want, and impact. I love having an impact. And it's also mastery. I love being the best. So when I attract people like those, when I talk about, when I know my values, I'm authentic about them, and I put the message out there in that terms, the people that are going to get attracted to the message are going to have similar values that I do. The others won't. They're going to be pushed away, but that's a good thing because I'm only going to attract my ideal client that I would love to work with. And then the coaching experience becomes easier. So that's all about the authentic leader. It's like you're attracting people that you enjoy, that are like you a few months ago, and then you're able to coach them and help them as best as you can.
Amazing. So one of the things that you mentioned is, for example, clarity. Is there any tool or exercise where people can get clarity? Because as you said before, there's so much information we get bombarded with.
True.
There's this problem of too much choices and unclarity, right?
Agreed. Yeah.
So what can people do to get more clarity in themselves?
Clarity is really, it's a big topic. There's clarity in a lot of things. Like emotional clarity requires something. First off, in terms of clarity, like emotional clarity is going to require you to do a lot of like emotional work, because sometimes you're not clear about the moment because some traumas might be holding you back. Some things that happened in your past, your shadow might be holding you back, right? Maybe you're spiritually, because maybe there's an attachment to something and that jades your focus and you're not clear. You don't have crystal clear, you're not crystal clear anymore. And so things like meditation, like mindfulness, that usually helps me with emotional clarity, right? I'm able to think clearly. But in terms of like clarity in the world in general, like what do I do today? What sort of actions should I take? What I do is usually I look at my goal and I work backwards. So I look at my goal, like let's say your goal as a coach is 10K per month. I look back, I'm like, okay, how many clients do I need to 10K per month? Do I need 2? Do I need 1? Do I need 3? Do I need 4? Whatever it is. Okay, if I need 10 clients a month, let's say, or 5 clients a month, let's look back a little bit. How many calls do I need to get 10 clients? Okay, if my closing ratio is 20%, then in 5 calls, I'm going to get 1 call. I'm going to get 1 close. So I'm going to need, if I want to get like 5 clients, 5 times 5, I'm going to need 25 calls. And then how many calls should I book each week? 25 divided by 4. I don't know the math here. Let's just go with like 6 calls. Six, seven, yeah, pretty much 7 calls. Let's go with 7 calls a week. Okay, if I want to book 7 calls a week, what sort of actions should I take on a daily basis? And then you so on and so forth. And that's how you know. And then you look at those stages and you see, okay, if you have all the information, awesome, get straight to action. If you don't, you look, where do I lack the information? Where do I lack knowledge? And then you go looking for it. In my weekly routines, I feel like consumption is a very big thing, because there's people producing and then there's always something to consume. So one thing you could do is create a to consume list. Every single week on Sunday, I create a to consume list. So I know exactly during the week what I'm going to consume and what I'm going to watch, what I'm going to read, so that if I find myself getting dragged into the YouTube rabbit hole of knowledge or into the Facebook rabbit hole of knowledge, I'm like, is this on my to consume list? No, I press X, because then I know it's not I'm not working towards and this is a little bit hardcore. I do spend time watching series and stuff, of course, not always like working on myself, but during those work hours, I only do those things. Where to consume, I need to consume this, get it done. Once it's done, I tick it off my to consume list and we're good to go. So those are some ways to get some clarity, but it really involves a lot of planning, a lot of structuring. I feel like with clarity, you just need the starting point is to have clarity on your vision. Because once you have clarity on your vision, as I said, you could break it down backwards and you could know exactly what you have to do and exactly what you have to consume, who you should reach out to, who you should connect with, who you should network with, and what your daily structures will look like. Because when I'm creating daily routines, to go back to the routines thing, I'm usually creating them based on where I want to be. So let's say in my vision, I want to become ripped and I want to gain weight. My routine is probably going to be different than somebody who has like a vision of losing weight. Mm-hmm. So that's why you want to get clear on your vision, break it down backwards to daily actions, daily structure, daily routines. And then all you have to do is put everything in autopilot, forget about the vision, and just focus on executing the daily routines. And sooner or later, you're going to be there.
Mm-hmm. So if I got it right, decide what you want, reverse engineer, if I can use another word.
Yeah.
And then do the math. It's like, start deciding, micro-stepping what you need to get there.
Yeah, pretty much. I use the very micro example, like a monthly planning, reverse engineering, but you could do it for like a 5-year vision. If you have 5-year vision, the reverse engineering process is going to be way longer, but it's pretty much the same thing. You just reverse engineer it to get to the daily actions you need to take.
Exactly. So what are some of your role models or who you look up to?
Role model, that's good. I'm a big fan of public speaking. I want to, start doing seminars and stuff, hopefully in the next 2-3 years. So one of my biggest role models for public speaking is Owen Cook. Do you know him?
Yeah, I know Owen Cook. Yeah.
Yeah. So freaking amazing public speaker. I learned a lot of my speaking skills, just being able to articulate things from him. I used to binge watch his videos, and funny enough, he was the person. So the way I got into all of this was that I was playing into personal development. I was playing a League of Legends game, and a friend of mine just sent me a link to a video, and it was a video for Owen Cook. I just remembered this. And when I watched it, I was like, holy shit, this is insane. And I stopped playing video games and I just started, focusing on that. And so, yeah, he was a big part of my journey. Role, I have a shit, like, one sec. Honestly, most of my role models aren't real people. They're like characters in movies and stuff.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah, because we have Owen Cook, we have Tommy Shelby. In terms of, and I'm not talking about their goals and what they achieved. It's more of how they carry themselves, because you learn a lot from them. Gary Vee is an amazing role model. He has an amazing story. So yeah, there is the coach that I'm working with right now. He's called Pierre. Also an amazing guy. Met him recently, but he instantly became one of my role models. I don't have like the big ones like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, because I feel like my goal isn't to become a billionaire. Tony Robbins is a big role model for me. I want to my goal is to replicate what Tony Robbins is doing, but for men. Yeah. So he's one of my biggest. So we have Owen Cook, Gary Vee, Tommy Shelby. There's I don't know if you watch Suits. There's Harvey Specter from Suits.
I didn't know that one.
Yeah, amazing mindset. I feel like the guy is just super competitive, focuses on being the best. And I learned a lot of things from him and how he carries himself. So Owen Cook, Gary Vee, Tommy Shelby, Tony Robbins, Harvey Specter. Those are some of the people. There's a little bit more. I look up to a lot of people, and I try to take the best qualities and values from them. I mean, and I'm always open-minded enough to admit where I'm faulty and try to see who's better than me at something and just go seek help from them.
Yeah, that takes also like open-mindedness, as you said before, right? Like to be humble enough to say, hey, I got to learn.
100%. I think what a lot of us have wrong is, thinking that it's bad to seek advice or to admit that you're not good at something. I'm really quick to admit that I'm not good at something, to the point that sometimes I underestimate myself. And I'm working on fixing that, but it's also been one of the main things that allowed me to grow, because when you are open-minded, when you don't have an ego where like, oh no, I don't need help, I know everything, you're not gonna improve. You're just gonna stagnate. So always, if I'm talking to anybody, no matter how much I feel like I know more than them, I sit down and I listen, because maybe, just maybe, they might have something that could help me, or some value that I could, learn from what they're saying. So always be open-minded. If it's sometimes I'm not very religious. I'm very spiritual, not religious. But even when I sit with somebody religious, I don't try to convert them. I don't try to be like, oh, you're wrong, I'm right. No, I try to listen to their perspective, because I might not agree with the whole thing, with their whole opinion, but there's something that I could take out, something that could help, something that makes sense in what they're saying. That's one. And two, don't be too opinionated. The less opinions you have, the happier you're going to be in life. Because, I always look at questions like, do you prefer this or that? Do you think this is right or this is right? And most of the times my answer is like, I don't have enough knowledge about the topic to have an opinion. Most people aren't like that. Most people they have an opinion that isn't even educated, and it just ruins you, because when you have an opinion, when you believe so deeply in it, you don't look at the other side's perspective to see that maybe they're right. Maybe there's something I can learn from them. So the less opinions you have about something, especially something that you're not educated in, the better, because you're going to learn more.
So it sounds like a sweet spot between like confidence that I can learn, but humbleness that I have a lot to learn.
Exactly.
So it's like this kind of cushion in the middle.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance. It's all about finding the gray between the black and white and staying there.
Awesome. So now going back to helping the coaches out there, right? You do something that you call the roulette system. Is that correct?
The content roulette.
The content roulette. Yes. Yeah. Can you describe a short version of that?
Yeah. So with coaches, as I said, you first off, before the content roulette, you need to have your foundations down for the content roulette to work. So you need to have good foundations down, right? Meaning you need to have a good high ticket offer. You need to know who your target audience is. You need to have those value matching down, where you know exactly who you're talking to and how to talk to them. And then we get into marketing. Okay, so that is step number one. With coaching, there is two types of coaches. There are, especially when you're doing organic marketing, and that's what you're supposed to do when you're first starting out. There are hunters and there are farmers. Okay, the hunters are usually the ones that do DMing. So to generate calls, they go out and they hunt. They do cold DMs. They try to generate prospects through cold DMs and get them on calls. Those are the hunters. The farmers are people that use their content to plant seeds in their customer's mind, so that their customer, when they make a post, either raises their hand and they're like, me, or reaches out to that coach and is like, I want to work with you, right? Now, the first question that pops up here, because we humans always want to know which one is better, is which one is better? Should I be a fun farmer or should I be a hunter? Should be both. All right, because if you could be with certain niches, being a hunter doesn't work. With certain niches, being a hunter works, and a farmer doesn't really work a lot. To be in a safe spot, do both. So when you do both, hunter requires you to have amazing messenger skills. That's a topic for another day. But for the farmer, we follow something called the content roulette. And the content roulette is pretty much a content strategy you follow to generate leads and to generate qualified calls for your coaching business. The way it works is that a lot of people just post value content, like, yeah, I'm going to post value posts. But the thing is, for somebody to listen to your value post, they need to view you as an authority first. Otherwise, why should I learn from you?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why when I created the content roulette, I was like, okay, we need to look at the customer journey and cater my content or coach's content to all different areas of the customer journey so that you know exactly who you're talking with. Now, the customer journey falls is split into 5 categories: not aware, so they're not aware about a problem; problem aware, right? Those are people that are aware they have a problem but aren't aware that they have that there's a solution for the problem out there. Solution aware, those are people that are aware there are solutions, they're just not aware of your solution. You've got product aware, those are people that are aware of the solutions and aware of your solution. And then there's most aware, those are people, this is people that, you know, convert into clients, loyal fans of you and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You need to take your customer through all of those journeys. Now, when you are creating valuable content, you're not catering to the not aware, you're not catering to the problem aware, you're not catering to the solution aware, you're only giving content to people that are product aware. And chances are, if you're just starting out, nobody is product aware. So that's why, you know, nobody's going to listen to you. You're not going to get any leads. And that's why I looked at it. Okay, like, how could we create a content system that's going to cater to all of those? And then it was split into 3 categories. I can't really remember the exact names, but there was cultivate attention, build authority, and then there was the conversion process, which was
Mm-hmm.
just converting them from, after you built authority, you could just convert them into, you know, paid clients. And so the first thing we need to do is build attention. You know, people need to know who you are, your story, what you stand for, just have eyeballs on you and give you their attention, because the most valuable currency nowadays is attention. Once again, low attention spans. If you're able to get people's attention, you win. I don't know how much we spend. We spend, I think, hundreds of billions, maybe. I'm not really like good with numbers here, on advertising every single year. Why? To get people's attention. That's it. That's how much we pay for attention, because attention is the main currency. And so you need to cultivate attention before building authority, before converting people, right? So building authority happens when you show them why. So cultivating attention makes them solution aware and a little bit product aware. Building authority allows you to build authority, show them why you are better than the competitors they're looking at, or why they should work with you, or just building authority so that when it's time for you to create valuable content, when it's time for you to get them on a call, they're like, oh my God, you know, I want to work with you. Or they're like, oh my God, I want to listen to you, because they know that you have something to add value with. You're not just a random person trying to sell them. Building authority, it's just about showing them why you are better than your competitors, why they should work with you over, you know, other people, why they should listen to you when you
Mm-hmm.
create value or when you get them to book a call. And this is where a lot of respect is built. You know, when people no longer want to waste your time, when people are excited to get on a call with you, when people want to be like, take my money. This is what separates a coach that gets people telling them, oh, take my money, I want to work with you, and a coach that has to jump on a 90-minute sales call to convince someone to work with them and go through hundreds of objections just to get them to sign up. It's building that authority, you know,
Yeah.
building that love, because when you're polarizing with your content, you're going to push a lot of people away, but the people that do stay, they end up loving you and they end up wanting to work with you very badly.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what it looks like. And then finally, you know, there's the conversion process, where after you've built enough authority, you've built goodwill, you've shared value with people, now you can start doing CTAs. If you reach out to people, they're like, oh my God, he's reaching to me. There's almost like a celebrity effect involved. And now booking calls becomes way easier, and, you know, converting people to clients becomes way easier. And we do that through the content roulette. And it's pretty much catering to every single area or every single part of the customer journey, and making sure we take the customer from one level to the next level through our, you know, mix of content categories.
Uh-huh. And what kind of mixed categories? Can you maybe describe a little these different categories where you take the people?
Yeah, so as I said, there's the cultivating attention, building authority, and then the conversion process. And in each one, there are subcategories. So with the cultivating attention, there's stories, telling story posts, being authentic about your journey. Those are very powerful. You've got vulnerability posts where you talk about lessons. You've got engagement posts where you just, you know, ask people for opinions. Market research posts, you know, those really build attention as well. Anything that, you know, like anything that doesn't need a lot of investment from your client. A story, maybe they resonate with the story. Vulnerability posts, they resonate with the vulnerability. Anything that gets them to resonate with you, so that it opens up a little bit of space in their mind to be like, okay, I want to see what more he has to say. And it pretty much leads to building authority. Now, in building authority, you compare the old way, how most people do it, to how you do it in your coaching program. You overcome some objections that they might have through the content. There's, like a lot of different categories in the building authority. I'm not going to go into each one of them because it's going to take us a shit ton of time. But it's all about showing why you should be listened to, why they should listen to you in the building authority part. And then there's the conversion process where you give value, because now after you've built authority, people open up more space to be like, okay, I want to see what I can learn from that person. And that's where you do trainings, you do CTAs, right? You do like call to action where you could be like, if you want this, let me know. We're looking for 5 people or whatever to join. Would you want to be part of them? Whatever it is. But now you have enough authority for that to work, and you have enough goodwill. People love you. People listen to you, and they're willing to, like see what you have to say. And that's when you could convert them, right? And you don't need a huge audience. You could do that with a very little audience on Facebook. You don't need to have hundreds of thousands of followers for that.
Exactly. So great. So you really have to have these things in place to attract the right people. And as you said before, matching the values, and most of all, giving value first, right?
Yeah, pretty much giving value, but not in a way that it's taught in the mainstream. Like, just give value in terms of like share everything you have. Because once again, if you share everything you have before you even built enough authority, why would people listen to it? Who the hell are you for me to listen to you? Because if you think about it, there are like 100 other people sharing value as well. So now there's this information overload. Like, who the hell should I listen to? So that's why you need to give them a reason to listen to you before you share value with them. Right? Because otherwise, because if you scroll through Facebook now, everybody's trying to share value because that's what they learned. And when everybody's sharing value, it's supply and demand. Like whenever there's a huge supply of something, people are going to start appreciating less and less and less, because they know that if they skip your post, there's probably going to be 10 other posts like it. And that's why you need to build that attention, build that authority first, so that when your value post shows up, they're like, I want to listen to this guy. And you probably see it as well. You probably scroll through a lot of posts, but then one name comes up and you're like, you stop and you read that person's post because you know that they have enough authority. You want to listen to them. You want to hear what they have to say. And that's why you want to take the customer through that journey, not just pump out value content all the time without any purpose.
All right. And the way to start is like a think global, start local. Like start with your own profile, start with your page, start with the people you know, right?
Yeah, with coaching, really, before, like, you could literally, I know people who scale to 7 figures and multiple 7 figures using their Facebook profile only, which is insane, right? So you don't need to, as I said, like, yes, think globally, think about ads, webinars, funnels, but you could start with your Facebook profile, bunch of friends, your family, all that stuff, and you could easily scale to $10,000 a month through that. Of course, you need to have the right foundations down, because as I said, coaching is like a building. If your foundations are really built well, then you're going to be able to build a skyscraper if you want. But if your foundations are faulty, you build 1 story, 2 stories, and then it falls, and then you're going to have to rebuild again. And that's why you need to build very strong foundations in terms of offer, targeting, positioning, and messaging before you start focusing on the other stuff.
It's amazing, bro. So, all right, I think we have a lot of material for who wants to start a coaching business. And
Yeah,
another question would be, what are your future vision? What are your plans for the future?
good question. That's a good question. From in the next 5 years, do you want to hear the next 5-year vision? That's a freaking good one. I think for me, it's like, I want to automate this coaching business that I'm in right now to a maximum, scale it to multi 7 figures or 7 figures at least, and put it like, make it fully automated. And after we do that, I'm probably going to start focusing on, I like live events, like I really enjoy live events, seminars, workshops, retreats, and I really enjoy speaking in front of an audience. I enjoy this one-on-one work, but I feel like I enjoy the seminars and public speaking way more. And so, making videos and stuff. So in the next 5 years, I want to have this fully automated at multi 7 figures, make sure that it's grown. We're providing our clients insane transformations, insane value, still include, of course, calls with me and stuff, but then also start working on my passion project, which is helping men become authentic leaders. That's where the whole authentic leadership comes from. And I struggled with social anxiety most of my life. I'm working on a lot of them. I'm working with personal development coaches on just becoming the ultimate man and becoming an authentic leader in my life. And I feel like, especially in this day and age, masculinity is looked, there's either toxic masculinity where like men shouldn't do this, men shouldn't do that, or there's like the whole feminist wave, which I love, by the way. I think it's amazing, but I also think there's negative consequences on guys because a lot of guys interpret it in the wrong way, which leads to a lot of negative consequences. And so men aren't showing up as men anymore. And I want to make sure that, because I've been there, I want to make sure that in the next 5 years, I build something for guys, a community where we do retreats, we do workshops, we do live seminars, and just build a movement of men bettering themselves and becoming better in all areas of their lives, from business to fitness to relationships to entrepreneurship to following their goals to getting on their purpose. Something just really powerful, really advanced. I don't want to just talk about the basic stuff that everybody talks about. Go really advanced. And I'm doing a lot of research lately to work towards that and just build a huge community. I feel like community building is something that I would be really good at. Build a community. And when you are in a community as a man of other men bettering themselves, I feel like just the progress becomes insane, motivating each other. One goal that I always have in mind is just having retreats, maybe in Bali or in whatever island, where we rent a huge mansion for like very small group of very dedicated entrepreneurs, high level, go there for 10 days and just work on bettering ourselves, from self-development to business strategies, and just have a group of coaches with me, somebody who's like an 8-figure business owner that helps them fix their business or work on their business, somebody who's good at relationships, a fitness coach, and just have just a community where people are just inspired to go to the next level. That's really the goal for the next 5 years.
Wow, the way you talk about it, it's explosive, man.
Yeah,
like
super
you love
passionate
that.
about it.
You
Yeah,
love that project.
100%. I call
Awesome.
it Project Ecstasy. That's going to be the name of things. Project Ecstasy.
Great, man. And whenever you start speaking with the Swiss Made Success Project, we started already doing live events. So hopefully we're going to have you as a guest in Switzerland, in
That's
Zurich.
epic.
That would be amazing. Let's see.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
And
hopefully.
the pandemic and stuff, but things going to go back again, I think.
Dude, the pandemic has been crazy, man. It's been crazy.
So, all right, maybe some more last questions. What, if there's anything that keeps you up, what keeps you up at night?
Ooh, good question. Honestly, when I was first starting out, what kept me up at night was, what if I never make it? Because I dropped out of university. I went against what a lot of people told me to do. Like when I dropped out, everybody was like, what the fuck are you doing, man? You're ruining your life. And I just shut it all out. But it still gets to you. And I would stay up at night thinking like, what if I actually never make it? What if they're right? And that was what kept me up at night. Now it's responsibility. Because once again, I haven't been through a lot in my life. I admit it, I'm not the most experienced guy. I'm freaking 19. So sometimes responsibility gets to me. Just having the responsibility of clients, the responsibility of growing my business, managing finances, all of that. It gets to me emotionally. I overthink before I go to bed. But once again, as I said, it's something that is a fault of mine. And when I discovered that it's a fault of mine, I instantly hired a coach to help me with it, because I was like, I need to get it better. And it's not about like shoving down your emotions or repressing them, because that would lead to very bad consequences. It's about knowing how to process them really, really healthily, in a way that will allow you to grow through the process of dealing with responsibilities and dealing with obstacles. And meditation has been a great part with that as well. It teaches you how to disidentify with a lot of things in your environment, and a lot of things happening with you as the identity, which is Omar for me. When you disidentify with them, they no longer have as strong of an emotional charge on you, which means less overthinking, less loops that you fall into before you fall asleep.
What do you do for fun?
Ooh, fun. I enjoy going to the gym. The thing is, I'm very, very into mastery. So even in my free time, I'm usually reading, I'm usually trying to improve. And It's either fitness, go out with friends. When I was young, so I have a lot of hobbies. I love playing the guitar, but when I was young, I went through a lot of different phases. I did parkour, I did BMX, I did magic tricks through cards. I played video games. I made YouTube videos for video games. I did Twitch streaming. I started the drop shipping store. I started, a local store here in Lebanon, and um, that was amazing. That was a really successful project. But then I moved into coaching. But I did a lot of things. Now it's less about, my hobbies now are just socializing, hanging out with friends. I love singing and playing my guitar, but it's horrendous. It's really bad, but I enjoy it a lot. Photography, taking photos is something that I enjoy. Taking photos and getting photos taken of me is something I really enjoy.
Being a
And
model.
well, I used to do it on not being a model. I think that's a big word. But I used to enjoy taking a relatively big Instagram following on my old account. And so, yeah, there's a lot of things that I enjoy doing. I just don't do a lot of them because one, we're in the pandemic. So most of the things I'm doing right now are at home, which is like reading, watching series, just trying to spend the time at home. But usually I'm more of an outdoor person. I love going on hikes, socializing with people, going out, sports, football, soccer. We call it football. In the US, they
Yes,
call it soccer.
true. Europe
I
too,
love that.
football.
Yeah, football is the word. If you call it soccer, there's something wrong. Yeah, that's something I enjoy a lot. I play once a week before the pandemic.
Amazing, man. How can people find about you? Where can they find you if they need a high performance coach?
Awesome. So I would say Instagram and Facebook. We don't have a website because I'm teaching my clients how to build their coaching businesses without having a website, a funnel, anything like that, just through their Facebook profile. So I'm doing the same thing because I want
Yes.
to walk the talk. And so they could find me on either Instagram or on Facebook.
I will put the links below and I will put
Okay.
them also on our interview so people can see them.
Awesome. Yeah. So Facebook, Instagram, if you need any help, reach out. We don't bite and always ready to help.
Amazing, man. Now, before we wrap it up, last question. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, you're like you're great at interviewing. I could tell you did a lot of research before we hopped on the call, which is something I really enjoy. And I noticed it because I watched those, I don't know if you know those interviews where they eat hot wings on YouTube.
Yes.
And so he gets complimented a lot on how deep the research is and how how much he researches the person before they hop on an interview and asks good questions. And I think you did that, which is really nice, and I really appreciate it that you take the time to ask or to research someone before you get them on an interview so that it flows smoothly. You know what the hell you're talking about, right? And I did enjoy it. It was really nice.
I want to thank you one more time for being on the Swiss Made Success, the Stairway to Excellence. And I will see everybody in the next episode.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you.
Cheers.
Take care.
Please write down in the comments below what was your biggest takeaway from this interview. And if you're working on yourself, on your self-esteem, on your inner confidence, on your social skills, on your video presence, I offer one-to-one coaching and consulting sessions. Go on my Facebook page and write me a message or send me an email at eridmusic@gmail.com. And on Facebook, on my page Erid, on the review session, you can see what people say about my coaching. Brett says, I was trying to improve my confidence and Erid helped me with this. He helped me to see that I have already achieved many things. I found Erid to be friendly, supportive, and encouraging. Thank you, Erid, for your time and your guidance. All the best, Brett, Australia.